go. Just before we get started, really getting into this, we're going to wait a few minutes anyway, as usual, give it a couple minutes. But I am on a so-so internet connection here in Paris, so fingers crossed that my connection stays good and I don't break up too much. If I do, Matt, if you can just speak up and let me know. But if you guys could all just let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, I'd appreciate it. And we'll kick off just with our daily maintenance stuff. Can
Yeah,
barely hear anything. Hang on. Okay, most people are saying good, so okay, good. Uh, Matt, if you could say hello.
Yep, everybody, welcome to the call. If you can say the same thing, Matt here. What do we normally do? Yes, Matt. There we go. Let's do that one.
Okay,
Okay,
so
cool. Everyone seems to be able
99%
to
of
hear me.
everyone is saying everything's good. So as usual, if you're not hearing right, chances are it's probably your connection, but if my connection starts messing up or Matt's, we will say something. So, yes, here we go. We're just going to wait just a couple of minutes here. And no, yes, we are rewarding people that are on early, but we like to just give a couple minutes because some people might just need a few extra minutes here. All right. Oh, and just a little update. I have added the MP3s for the last three calls. I've just got those up today. I was having a problem adding one for call 5, but they're up there. So, and even though some of the calls do require video, we are making the MP3s for them as well. So you could just throw them in your iPod and listen to them if you need to. So, yeah, that's what that is. Um, all right.
Yeah, so just kind of curious. I was at a media buying seminar this past weekend. There's three, at least three anyways, ASM members that we talked and that sort of thing. It was kind of cool. Got to eat breakfast with them, that kind of thing. Are any of my friends from the media buying seminar on this call is the question. There's only three of them. Be kind of interesting. It was a small little seminar. Yes, Joe, that was in Toronto. That is the same one. Don't see him responding yet. Maybe they're not with us. Perfectly cool. Yeah, so we'll see you
Was it
all
a
at
good one?
the.
I was planning on being there, but the family vacation came first. Was it a good one though?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was really good. It was a smaller seminar, not like our beast of a, a beast of a seminar coming up at this end of the month with 600, 700 people of our members. A lot of you all on the call. Yeah, it was a smaller one, but it was definitely good. Good, small, hard hitting. A lot of good speakers there. So yeah, it was cool.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Well, let's just jump into this. Matt, can you hit record? I don't want to trust my connection here at all.
Ahead of the game, already recording.
All right, cool. So we're going to get going. All right, everyone. So welcome to the Module 7 coaching call. I've got a few things I want to hit on before we get into anything deep here. First thing is a lot of you have been asking me about LLC creation. You remember back, I can't believe now it's been 6, 7 weeks where we were arranging for someone to be able to do a really low cost LLC. We do have an arrangement and it is actually going to be going live tomorrow. I had hoped to have it live yesterday, but we just needed to get a few things double checked. So if you are not in the US and would like to create a United States LLC and bank account, now, and this is going to help you out. So the gentleman, Darren Miller, who is helping us do this, has made special arrangements, cut the price big time. So, for example, when you go to a service that'll help you create an LLC, you'll usually see prices such as say $700, $800 to get one created. Well, then that's just the initial price that the company makes for doing it. You still will need to create, pay your corporation fee or your LLC fee. You'll have to put money, put a deposit in the bank account, all those kind of things. The initial fee that I'm talking about, the one where the actual creator that's going to work with you to create these accounts, those fees are eliminated. Darren's not taking anything there. It's a special arrangement just for our members, so this is going to save you a lot of money. Now, just a little heads up before it opens tomorrow and everything. Darren is not a tax expert. So when you're doing this, make sure you're already understanding and familiar with what an LLC in the States is and different things like that. Darren is by no means a tax expert, and this is a disclaimer for him. do not ask him those types of questions. This is simply a service for creating an LLC and a bank account. The bank, it's a Delaware LLC, so it's a type of corporation, I guess you could say, in the state of Delaware, which is good because I believe they have no state taxes. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that's true. And it will also create a bank for you at Bank of America. The reason it took so long is I wanted to put people through the paces first with it. So we originally had 10 people go through it, and we wanted to make sure everything was successful. And for the most part, it was a great process. So anyone that's interested in doing it, you're going to love this. It's going to help you a lot with getting set up in the States. Sub-account access. You've been asking for that, and finally it's added. So sub-account access, and Matt's actually going to hit on something with working with outsourcers. So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But for sub-account access, you do have that now in the tools area. So yeah, you can set it up so now that you can get somebody like an outsourcer to be able to do work for you and be able to access the tools. Now, one caveat about that, remember, this is no different than you accessing the tools, meaning anything that they use the tools for reflects on you. So please do pay attention, obviously protect the account and don't allow them to use it and only allow them to submit quality content, but this will free you up quite a bit. We also have the press release upgrade, which should be done by the end of this week, integrated with a brand new bigger network. So we're going to have 2 networks we're using now. That's going to get huge exposure for your press releases. And I actually saw a very interesting email, and now that I think about it, it would have been something good to show on this site, but a lot of people ask me, are press releases effective? Well, Matt Cutts, if you don't know who Matt Cutts are, basically he is the spokesman for Google for when it comes to SEO. And he's the guy that always tries to say, certain tactics don't work, this and that, and believe about 1/10 of what Matt Cutts says. And this is proof positive. And this is why I get really frustrated with people when they say, oh, I hear that doesn't work. Try something before you claim it doesn't work. If you hear Matt Cutts say something, then chances are it probably does work. Just be careful. But this is a perfect example where Matt was saying links and press releases don't really do anything. Well, this guy did a test, and he actually did it on Matt Cutts' blog for a random word that Matt Cutts' blog doesn't even mention. He did a press release that linked back to it with a keyword from the press release, and all of a sudden Matt Cutts' blog was ranking high for that keyword. Perfect example that press releases are still extremely, extremely powerful. And in my opinion, probably one of the most powerful SEO factors out there right now. Really, really powerful. And I believe that's all that I have. I'm just looking at my list. So I'm going to now, unless, Matt, I don't know if you saw any questions that came up regarding that, or we can just keep them to the end.
Um, yeah, they're just asking like if you could recap where the info about setting up an LLC and all that's going to be and how much it's going to cost. That's
Okay,
what.
the LLC, you know what, let's just wait until tomorrow. It'll be, I believe, about $600, but with the $600, 200 of that is actually for your bank deposit. So that'll actually be your money, but the Bank of America needs an initial deposit of $200 to open the account. So you'll eventually be able to withdraw that anyway. So it's not like an expense, you're just putting it in there as an investment. And the rest of the fees will all be just for setting up legal fees. But that'll all be made available to you tomorrow with more information regarding that. So I
And are
don't
we going to
believe
put it
any.
in ASM in like module 7?
No, it's actually going to be its own page. But you know what? Yeah, I might as well do that. Tomorrow, what I'll do, uh,
Either
I
way, we'll let
don't,
everyone know via email, Facebook, and the forum. So
and forum. Yeah, how about we do
yeah,
it that way? Yeah.
cool. Sounds good. So yeah,
Um,
I'm ready
okay.
whenever we are.
All right. So take it away.
Let me, I got 2 computers pulled up here. Make sure the screen looks good. Yeah, so everyone should be seeing Amazing Selling Machine, Module 7. So what I was telling Jason before the call that I wanted to cover is, I got started doing a lot of outsourcing fairly early on when I started running my online business because it seemed like an awesome idea. I read, Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. I was like, this sounds pretty awesome, being able to hire other people to do all kinds of stuff, just general stuff related to running an online business that I don't have to do myself. So I got started pretty early on doing small tasks and that kind of thing. And really up until a few months ago, I'd pretty much just use pretty standard sites like elance.com, odes.com, Fiverr for little small things, video things, just tiny little graphics, and other sites like 99 Designs, Logo Tournament, all those pretty standard outsourcing sites. And last year we did a call interview kind of thing with a guy named John Jonas who runs a site called onlinejobs.ph, which I'll just go right here. So here it is, onlinejobs.ph. So he owns the site he created. He used to do, still does some internet marketing related stuff, but I mean, this is really what he's all about, outsourcing. And so the first time I tried this, it's actually a paid thing, so it's not very expensive, maybe like 40, $50 a month or something like that. Unlike Elance or Odesk, which are free other than the fees you pay them, which can end up being more expensive than this and likely are. But either way, the first time I tried this, I was like, this is garbage. I was like, this thing doesn't work. I was like, I wasn't getting any response and that kind of thing. But just like we teach you all, I went through John Reese's outsource force training and I paid attention and I used exactly what he said. The one tip that was a turning point for making this thing work for me was when I contact people on here, offering them a premium over what they want. So I'll show you what all this means to begin with, but in a general principle, I did exactly what John said in his training, and it worked. So it's a good thing to learn, anyways. So the reason I want to share this with you all is because you all are likely already in a place or are going to shortly be in a place where you start to need to hire inexpensive overseas staff members to do all kinds of things. They could be data entry, graphic design, web development, setting up your website, managing your e-commerce store, doing any of that kind of stuff. Believe me, you can find people in the Philippines that can do it very well, which is what onlinejobs.ph focuses on, is people in the Philippines. So it's extremely valuable. And the thing is that if you all haven't done this before, like I used to pay a graphic designer from India or Pakistan, I can't remember which, did a good job, communicated very well, pretty good designer. And I used to pay him, a decent amount, like per project. It'd be like $90 to have one graphic thing designed, $120 to have a few other graphics design. And I was needing quite a bit, and it started to add up. I mean, just like your business will, it'll start to add up on the graphic side and possibly on the web development side and that kind of thing. And would end up paying them, multiple thousands of dollars a month because I was doing one-off projects. So I was like, well, I could probably get a discount if I hire him full time. And I asked him about that. He said it would probably cost like $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Hire him full time. I was like, that's too expensive. You can hire people that can do an equivalent level of design work, web development work, customer service, any of that kind of stuff for anywhere between 300 to $1,000 a month full time. Full time. So that's 300 to $1,000 US dollars full time for an entire month. That's 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and it's absolutely amazing. A lot of these people are exceptionally good. So I just want to show you all really quick. We can take some questions about this in a second, but I just want to show you really quick how it's done. So all I did was I've obviously created an account here. We don't have any sort of affiliate relationship with John. I mean, John's a good guy. He's a friend of ours, a partner of ours, but it's not like that at all. I just want to let you all know what works. You can sign up for this thing for a month, cancel it if you don't like it. But if you need to hire overseas people, I recommend trying out the site, and I recommend trying hiring at least one person full time because they'll be you will be their entire focus, which makes a huge difference. I know Jason can attest to that. He's done just as much, if not more, outsourcing than I have. So all I did was log into onlinejobs.ph. This is after I've signed up for the little, $40 a month account or whatever it costs. Then I click Advanced Skill Search. Now, John recommended on that call that you just pick a few skills. So, say for example, if I want to find a graphic designer, that doesn't mean I want to go here because you basically by default nothing is selected. You can select these things, and these are the criteria that have to match in their profile. It's how they pick out people from the database to show you. So if I put, ability to solve problems quickly, best in the world, attention to the detail, best in the world, email, best to the world, that's going to start getting to fewer and fewer applicants because it's all self-rated. Do they think they're the best in the world at all those different things? Obviously, you can choose these different skill levels. I'm good at it. I'm good at it. It'll make a little more sense when I show you somebody's profile. But if I'm looking for a graphic designer, then I'm just going to go over here and click graphics and then say, some of the core things related to graphic design. So maybe I want somebody that's absolutely amazing at Photoshop, and then I want somebody who's absolutely amazing at web page design. Maybe even logo design too. We can throw that one in there too. It's just the more you select of these, the less people you'll see. So if you select too many, there won't be anybody that matches. So I'm just going to select those three things and scroll down here. And I do this, I don't even know why. I just like to see that they have a picture. So I put with picture, just to, I think it kind of weeds out maybe some people creating, multiple profiles or anything like that. I don't know if it makes much of a difference. So I include with picture, full time, monthly salary. So it's in Philippine pesos. So I'll choose for this kind of position below 30,000 and to USD, and I'll show you what that means in US dollars. So 30, that's about $734 per month. That's on the high end for this position, honestly, but that's still only $734 for a full-time person for the entire month. Still pretty insane, but I'll just use that as a top end, 30,000 per month. And then that's really it. Search resumes. And we'll let this pull up. I know you all's screen is just a tad bit delayed because I can see it on my other screen. So I'll wait for this to pull up. So what this did is it basically pulled up everybody that matched those criteria. Maximum 30,000 Philippine pesos per month. They're the best in the world at logo design, Photoshop, and web page design. You can add and modify these as you want. So here are the people that have pulled up 11 results. And these are all people looking for full-time positions. So you can start clicking on these people and looking what they have. Photoshop, WordPress, etc. This is another person, graphic designer. So if I just want to, randomly pull one, see these people want 12,000 per month, $294, 40 hours a week. That's all you're paying for the entire month. Pretty insane. I mean, I pay my people weekly, but either way, it's a quarter of that weekly. It's absolutely insane. And these people can be extremely good. So what I would do is I would go over here and go ahead and open this and basically start looking at their profile. You can see that sometimes they'll plug in information like their Facebook URL. You can see how much they want per month. You can see that they put skills in here. And here are all the things that they mark that they're good at, things that they're experienced with. If you scroll down to the graphics section, this is how we found them. Best in the world logo design, website, web page design, and Photoshop. And some of them will have more paragraphs written here about their individual experience. So this guy didn't build out his profile very well. But either way, what I would do is pretty much take everybody that fits. You'll find some people that I tend to avoid that'll say they'll show up under this, but they'll be like, I'm just looking for any job, not what you want. Pretty much anybody else other than those people, all you do, go over here. Remember, this person wants 12,000 Philippine pesos per month. So I would go over here, click contact now, and then personal email. So anyways, hopefully I don't get pounded with a bunch of emails, but either way, all you do is put in whatever wage you want to pay them at. So 12,000 Philippine pesos. So I recommend, this is the big trick. This is the most important part about all of this. Pay them a premium of about 20%. So 20% of 12,000 is 2,400. So we'll say we want to pay them a little bit more than that, say 15,000 Philippine pesos per month job offer. And so that's all you have to put in there. And then all you do is, I recommend you obviously want to personalize, hey Lloydie, and then you just describe your job. Then you obviously just describe the job, and they can send you emails directly through here, and it'll go to whatever email you have in there. And then you click send email. And then by offering them a premium thing, making the job sound good to them, just like you're hiring a local employee, clicking send email, you'll start getting a lot of these people replying. Now, before, when I would just offer them your Philippine, the amount that they asked, because I was like, okay, that's what they're asking for, that's what I'll put in there, responses kind of weren't very good. But by bumping that up to a premium, which the difference for you is going to be like 50 bucks a month when you offer them a premium over this, because it's a big percentage jump if it's 20%, but it's not a whole lot in dollar terms. But it still makes you stand out versus everyone else. And I'm getting incredible results. I just uh, I just hired a full-time, an additional. I already have a full-time graphic designer, but I hired an additional full-time graphic designer who does amazing work. He showed me his 99 Designs profile. He did a test project. It's absolutely amazing. Like, I literally think I found a hidden gem. But there's plenty of other people like that on there. There's lots of great graphic designers that are all willing to work for that same sort of wage per month. And then I also just hired a full-time web developer, extremely fast. So I now have him communicating directly with the web designer. So the web designer, web developer communicating with each other. And then when the web designer has like a new graphic that he just created for me, I have him send it direct, like a new web page graphic, because I'm having some mini sites built out right now. He'll just CC me on the email, but he'll send it directly to the developer. The developer will turn the design into an HTML website and basically already has FTP access so he can put it online. That's how you outsource. Using a site like this, getting inexpensive people, and having them communicate with each other is incredible. Another big tip with this is to make sure you have them do test projects. I probably could have done it a little bit cheaper, but for every web developer and graphic designer that looked interesting to me that actually responded, what I did is for the graphic designer, for example, I had a little mini site that I wanted to design. So I just have them design a homepage that looked, I gave them an example. I said, regardless of whether or not I end up choosing you for the position, I'll pay you $40 US via PayPal for you to do this, for you to create a design like this web page. I'm using the information I gave them. I'll pay you $40 after you submit the design to me, whether or not I end up hiring you for the full-time position or not. So I got, some of them won't do that. Some of them won't even contact you to begin with, but that's good. Get you to weed out some people. So they got a few people submitted that. And so I only ended up choosing one. So I had to pay an extra, a few, probably 3 or 4 people that I had to pay an extra $40 to, but that helped me get that extremely good person. Probably could have done that for $20, but either way, it allows them to make some money. It reflects good on you. It's good business. They at least made a little bit of money off of it. You're not wasting their time, but you really get to see how they work, how they communicate, and what kind of quality of work they do. I did the same kind of thing for the web developer. I basically had them turn a design into an HTML website, and that was their test project. Had to pay a few people $40, but then I found a really, really good, really responsive, really fast working person out of it. So yeah, I just wanted to share this with you all. It's not necessarily directly related to Module 7, but on the other hand, it kind of is because you can find people on here that can do different forms of writing, different forms of data entry. They can do a lot of like when the tools access is set up now, the sub accounts, they can do a lot of that for you if you train them right and make sure they use the system right. So it's a great system. They can create graphics for you. A lot of them can do video editing stuff. So it's a great system, great tool. You can find people on Odesk and Elance, but the good thing about this is you're hiring full-time people and they work only for you, and there's no middleman. You have to pay a monthly fee for online jobs.ph, but then once you find people, you can cancel your account if you want, if you don't want to use it again. Either way, you're dealing directly with the people. I typically pay them via PayPal, obviously after they've done the work. So I make sure they've worked for a full week, then I'll pay them on Friday and so forth. So yeah, wanted to share this with you all. So if anybody has any questions, we can cover questions related to this and module 7 kind of stuff, unless you got some other stuff you need to cover, Jason.
No, actually, I wanted to expand on what you talked about. I've
Sure.
actually used onlinejobs.ph for the last year, and the three latest employees that I have, and this isn't for support, these are actually people that work for me doing other things. Actually, that's not true. One of them is a new support person too. I've used onlinejobs.ph, and I love it. A couple things that actually some members brought up too, but are really important factors. English is a huge thing, and that is something. Who said that here? I thought it was a
Yeah, it looks
really
like
good.
Michael Amato said that. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good point. So like right here, I forgot. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because what I'll normally do, and I'm sure Jason does the same thing, is one of the other few things that I select. Speaking, not a huge deal. I mean, Jason may have a different opinion on this because I know John said something about this, but I make sure the writing English is either I'm an expert or the best in the world, and that helps filter some people out too.
yeah, that was exactly right. The one side benefit that you'll find with people from the Philippines as well too is that they do have a very low accent, meaning they actually do not sound like they're from the Philippines. A lot of these people, um, the employees that I have, I've actually had them do some video work as well. Now you can hear a hint of an accent at times, but if they talk slowly and everything, they can actually sound completely American, which is really cool.
Yeah,
The
but
other
by the
really
by the way, on a good point on that, something that I figured out and sort of maybe Jason, I don't know if you used this before, but like if you need somebody to do any sort of audio work, for example, like Jason just said, related to video stuff, a cool way you can do that saves you a lot of time is there's sites out there where you can like record audio on your computer, like somebody just speaks something in there and then it automatically produces like an MP3 file. I may be able to find one, but either way, I had to do the same kind of thing before, and I basically had everyone for a test project. They had to record this like canned thing into this thing, and then I got all their MP3s back and was able to pick out whichever one sounded the best and had the least amount of accent. So that can help too.
Yep. And the one thing that I found too is that the people at the Philippines, they're not interested in stealing your ideas. I know that's a huge um, component that really limits people from wanting to allow outsourcers because they think, oh, they're going to be exposing things. The Filipino people seem to be extremely loyal, and if you pay them well, the only thing to watch is there is a cultural difference, and you just need to communicate very clearly with them and tell, don't hire someone if you're not going to have items for them to do. And that question's come up a few times. What kind of work do you give them? Well, the reality is if you don't have enough work to give someone right now, well, then don't bother outsourcing. Only when you start needing help do you need to start doing that. And someone asked, how many employees do you need to be making $100,000 a month? Well, you really don't need anybody if you want to do all the work yourself. It's, what do you want to be able to give somebody else? For example, using the tools, do you really need to be doing that when you can pay someone a very low rate, but it's actually very good for them to be able to do it, and they'll do just as good of a job, if not better. So it really comes down to you deciding, when you need to hire people. Um, and the reality is, for the amount you pay them, my graphic designer, for example, I do not give him 40 hours of work a week. He, however, I give him that much money every week because when I do need the work, he's there and he gets it done, and I'm always top priority. So, but it comes down to where you are in your business and what you need from them.
And also, like
And
using people like that can really help you focus on what you're good at. Like for example, like I intentionally uninstalled any sort of graphics editing software from my computer because I have a full-time graphic designer, and even for little small things like need to change the color of this or that, like I won't do it myself because really disciplines you to let somebody else do it, and that stuff is not the best use of your time unless you're world's greatest graphic designer and you just love doing it. But all of us pretty much
that's
are not.
actually a really good tip for because it's so often like, oh, I can just do it myself, and then you find you're tweaking a graphic and spending 90 minutes on it
Yeah,
when you should have taken 5.
yeah.
So that's actually really good. But one last thing, Russ Izu mentioned here, Otis checks their desktop every 15 minutes. I use a service called WorkSnaps.net. Again, that's WorkSnaps, WORK snaps.net, and that is a really low cost solution that does the exact same thing. You can create projects, time track, but it also does the random screen capturing. Very effective. I absolutely love it, and it works great. So I do recommend, if you're worried about that, the combination of onlinejobs.ph and WorkSnaps has worked fantastic for me. Hang on a sec.
So
Um,
Eric has a good question that some other people may not. Eric Flat says, "How have you prevented the Filipinos from disappearing?" That is a weird thing, and sometimes it does happen, but it really comes from exactly what I just showed you. First off, you got to treat them well. You got to treat them nice. You got to make it a good job for them. And these are real people. They're not little robots over there. Just like a local employee, you got to keep them happy. But it's also keeping communication open with them and making it a better job for them. Like if you're the one who's paying them a 20% premium versus anybody else, they're going to do your work and they're going to focus on your job versus any other job opportunity that comes across them. So that's one way. It hasn't really
well,
happened to
one
me with Filipinos. I've had it happen with a programmer way back in the day overseas, but that hasn't happened to me. I think maybe because of those things.
Well, and two things that I've done, and I have the opposite happening. They're always asking me, I need more work, I need more work. Like instead of disappearing, it gets to a point where it's like, no, you'll just not have work right now. You're getting paid. What you need to do is communicate very clearly with them up front. Say, I might come across at times very blunt because this was something actually John Jonas shared with me about the Filipinos is that they can sometimes, the reason why they disappear is because they get very sensitive to getting in trouble, and they're worried that if they messed up or something that you're going to give them crap, and they would much rather disappear and not have to deal with you. So if you just communicate very clearly, just say, I might come across very blunt at times. I do apologize in advance for that. This is just the easiest way to communicate. I promise you that if there is an issue, I will communicate very clearly that I have an issue with you. Don't take anything personal, and all I ask is that if you have any concerns at all, just communicate back to me and really open up the channel of communication with them so they know that it's a safe place, so that they can feel that if they're not sure about something, they can ask and they won't get in trouble. That was a really big thing. And the second thing, again, like Matt said, is pay them well. Like the thing is, you're still paying way cheaper than anywhere else. And so you can afford, that 20% goes a really long way. And you treat them well, open up a good line of communication, and then pay them well, you're not going to lose them. All right. Yeah, and Ron, that's what I do is everything for me personally is just done. Well, that's not true. I use Basecamp, which is from 37signals.com. I use that as my project management for communications, but between that and Skype, that is how I personally do it. I don't know, how do you do it, Matt?
Um, uh, yeah, not quite as organized as Jason. But I try to use Basecamp whenever like I have like my designer, for example, that I give a bunch of projects to. When it starts getting too many, like there's too many emails going back and forth, I'll just wait a minute. We need to get organized here, and I'll put like I mean the Basecamp's set up, so what I'll do at that point is go in Basecamp, assign all those to-do items, make sure they're all there, and ideally that's how it should be getting done. But sometimes I'm just lazy, and I'll just like shoot them an email real quick. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it right now. Anyways, I use a lot of Google Docs for managing different things. I've used like I
Google
think I've
Docs is fantastic. That's another
yeah.
thing, like, because you can share them so easily. Yeah, Google Docs is a great tool.
Yep, like I think you all have probably heard by now on one video or another how I'm a pretty big fan of Google Sites, like using that as an intranet. I'll put the URL, it's just google.com/sites. But they have an intranet template you can make. You can add a lot of training there. It's not necessarily a good communication tool, but it's a good training tool because you can add a lot of content there and make it protected. Like you can give access to only people that I mean, you can give access to people based on their like Google account. For example, if Jason whatever at gmail.com, okay, only him and myself can access this. You can add people as needed. So that's a good thing you can do. It's just a private website for training, not necessarily good for communication. Basecamp is definitely good for that though.
And someone was asking Basecamp versus WorkSnaps. I actually use them together. WorkSnaps, what's great about it is the user has to install a little program on their computer. And what happens is it randomly takes snapshots of their desktop. And this way, especially when new employees are starting, because the reality is you will have to go through some employees. But to be honest with you, the employees, this has really changed since I've started using onlinejobs.ph. I found that it's really a higher success rate. But what this does is it helps you to monitor to make sure that, if they're saying they're working 8 hours a day, you can check and see what they're working on for those 8 hours a day. I use them in conjunction. I don't use one in place of the other. Um, did you lose me there? Someone just said they
No, I can
lost
still
me.
hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, Matt, we're at 10:30. We don't actually have tons of questions. We can get back to the outsourcing item if people want to go on that a little bit more. And yeah, Matt, if you could actually put the Basecamp URL in the chat box too, if you could,
Sure.
just
I
for
mean, I think
anyone
it's
that's.
just Basecamp, but let me grab the official one from there. Yeah, it's just basecamp.com. All right, yeah, put that in the chat box. Bam. So anybody, I know sometimes we have some issues with people listening to recordings and all that kind of stuff. It's literally just basecamp.com. It's the whole name from like a climbing like an alpine mountain, that kind of thing, a base camp. I mean, that's where it comes from, just basecamp.com.
All right, so we don't have tons of questions that were submitted today, which is good. We had quite a few comments of people really happy, but just, they're just, chugging along, getting things going, so that's really cool. The questions that we do have, sorry, I'm just on my brand new little laptop here, and I'm getting used to the size of the screen. Here we go. Okay, so what can you do specifically as outsourced? This question was a little jargled when it came in, but I think that what this is really this question was asking, and this is just my personal opinion, is what can you do, how can you use outsourcers with our system? And if that's not what you meant to submit the question, I apologize. I'm just hoping that that's what it is. And again, basically what we're doing is how it works, maybe I should back up and share this with you too. The way you set up your sub accounts within your members area is you need to go to your profile. So when you log into the Amazing Selling Machine, on the top right corner, you click on Profile, and then you'll see other tabs that say Profile, Password, UPC bonus, badges, and sub accounts. In the sub accounts, then you'll enter in the email a password, and username, and then you'll select the tools that you want this person to have access to. So if you want this person to only have access to, say, the press release and the video tool, that's all they'll get access to. So this way you can really control what the person sees. And this way you can also, as Matt said, totally, free yourself from specific tasks. So, something as little as, say, just for example, the traffic robot, video, and press release, say those three tools right there. You could just give them access to that, and they could manage that whole thing for you, doing all the work those tools need. And then you can obviously come back in here and edit these as much as you want so that the person can have different access at different times. Now, we are looking at opening this up to be able to have more than one sub account per user. I actually want to allow two, because you might have someone that you want to manage the email system and then another one to do the other ones. But we only are starting off with one sub account simply because we need to make sure the system works properly first. So that's just a heads up for everybody. All right, so if that wasn't the answer to that question, I do apologize. When do you typically see Amazon pages beginning to rank in Google after all the promotions have been implemented? Really, it's hard. There's no definite answer, and I know people always want, great responses to things like that. Ideally, you should see it pretty quick, but it could sometimes take 3 or 4 weeks depending on how competitive the term is. You might see it in the first week. You might really, but I would, in my opinion, you should be having a goal for your, main primary term 3 to 4 weeks before you really start seeing traction in the search engines with it for the higher terms. Lower terms, you might be able to see them a lot quicker within the first week or two. But really, if you set yourself for 3 to 4 weeks, that way, if it's any earlier, you're ahead of the game, and if not, you're on track. Matt, what are some effective strategies, things you can say with the review magnet approach?
Um, I mean, with that, I mean, it really comes down to the whole using the email system, and we have like all the training related to that. But I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of, I mean, using the automated email tool is really the best way to do that. And I think I believe we provided templates, but I mean, the whole idea is that like Amazon's pretty specific about how you can follow up with people. I've talked with them on the phone about this, and their whole deal is that like you can't just blatantly email people, even though I know people that have done it and haven't gotten in trouble, but you definitely tend to err on the side of being safe with using Amazon systems. So, what Amazon says is that what the person told me on the phone is I wrote all this down and it's in the training is that like when you contact a customer about you want them to write a review basically, but you're emailing them through Amazon system, you have to say you can't just be like, hey, can you write a review? You have to be basically it has to be a follow up about their order, about the product. So you say, hey, did you get your order on time? Did you like the product? If not, please let us know. Um, Also, can you please leave product feedback? That's pretty much what you have to do. You just want to make sure that, in an ideal world, you've already sent them out one email that's given them some good information, some good value, because that helps you establish goodwill and kind of set that second email up for it being a positive review versus them being like, oh, this person screwed me over, bad review. That's what you want to avoid, obviously. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the best place to get started, other than doing other campaigns where you're using Amazon's kind of same approach to getting reviews, like they do with their Vine system, where you're actually giving people free products, asking them to write a review, and after they get your free product, and once they do write a review, you can't incentivize them saying, okay, now I'll pay you $15. That's against Amazon's policies. What you can do is just like what Amazon does, is you basically have some sort of, private review program where, okay, they didn't write a review, then they'll never get another free bottle or free, whatever it is you're selling, whether it's skincare stuff or whatever. I mean, at that point, you just basically kick them out of that program. So pretty much what you have to do with reviews, because Amazon is pretty, I mean, they're constantly changing, but they're getting more and more strict about what you can do regarding reviews. So you really want to stay within their policies.
Amen to that. They're getting very strict, and you don't blame them. I mean, a lot of people were taking advantage of it, so really be careful. And the one thing I just wanted to add, what Matt said, when you follow up, like, did you like the product? Do not word it in any way where it sounds like, did you like the product? If yes, could you write a review? It needs to be worded in such a way that it's just general by itself. Would you write a review? Do not at all make it seem favorite or worded that only if they like the product. So it has to be an unbiased, general question. Um, okay, just going through the questions here. If you rank for a bad keyword, can you change keywords or rank for more than one? I'm assuming you're talking, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, and this just reminds me of something else that I wanted to hit on really quickly. But absolutely. Really, for ranking for a keyword, whether you're doing it with Google or Amazon, just change your focus. Tweak the title, change the keyword a little bit in the title, change the keyword on the page, do promotion with different keywords. You can absolutely change the keywords at any time. It doesn't mean you won't rank for the other one anymore. You're just, modifying how that one's going to be ranked for. But something I wanted to hit on was, and this actually has been PM'd to me a couple of times, and we did hit on it a little bit last week, but I want to hit on it again. When Matt shared the how to rank for any keyword on Amazon strategy, that is a completely unique strategy to itself that is not a long-term promotion strategy for doing press releases and things like that. What Matt was sharing is how you get your product ranking for a keyword is by getting people to actually search on Amazon with the keyword, find your product, and make a purchase. Of course, you cannot do all your promotions that way. You can't write every press release, every video, everything that you're doing to promote the page and say, okay, now to buy it, you have to do this. Obviously, you're going to want to directly link to the product. You're going to want to, directly get them to the product page. What Matt was sharing is simply how you get a product to rank on Amazon by following that strategy, and you do very focused promotions on that where you do little contests, so you do whatever it is to get people to take that action. But outside of that, you still need to do all the other direct linking promotions, especially when it comes to SEO, because you have to direct link them. So I just need people to understand, and I don't feel like I'm communicating it very well right now. They're two totally different systems. The the ranking for a keyword on Amazon strategy, where you tell them to enter in this keyword and then buy your product, you're more than likely going to have to incentivize them to do that, saying, to get this special discount the next 2 days, this is how you do this. And what that'll do is that'll boost you in Amazon, because when you search with a keyword on Amazon and then buy the product through that keyword, it does increase the rankings. But again, you can't expect everybody to want to do it that way, and conversions will drop because you won't get people taking the action. So you're going to want to do the other promotions as well, where you're just giving them the direct link to the product. Matt, help me. Am I explaining that okay? Because I'm feeling like I'm kind of fumbling my words there.
Yeah, regarding getting ranked in Amazon versus Google.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean they're two completely different things. I mean they're two completely different search engines. It'd be like, I mean, think about like if you have like an e-commerce store, it's like getting ranked on your own e-commerce store within your own sort of search algorithm that's already built into your e-commerce store, or getting ranked on Google. They're two completely unrelated things. They're not they're not related. So getting ranked on Amazon as a matter really comes down to getting purchases through your target keyword. Getting ranked in Google is a factor of 5 billion different things that Jason knows, and other people who do a lot of SEO stuff regarding links, social, all that kind of stuff, content. Completely different thing. I mean, Google is its own animal, Amazon's its own animal. Two both related to keywords. That's the only common factor. Other than that, they're just two different algorithms for two different platforms.
Just so everyone knows too, Matt actually has control of the screen, so there's nothing we're really showing on the screen right now.
Yeah,
So
I was on
right now,
onlinejobs.ph for a while now. I just opened back up the Module 7 thing, but that's about as exciting as the visual is getting today.
here's a good question, Matt. How much money should we make each day before expanding our product line?
Good question. It's really not a matter of how much money you should make each day. It's really a matter of, first off, obviously your own financial situation. Like you don't want to stretch yourself too thin where you're trying to expand to a bunch of different products that require an upfront inventory investment before you actually have the cash to do that. But it's really, assuming you have the money from one way or another, whether it's just money you have or it's profits generated from your original product. The other thing is, sorry, I got distracted, but I was looking at like a question thing about some URL somebody plugged in here to check out. But yeah, the other question uh, whether or not your product is kind of tapped out in terms of ultimate potential. Does your product have any more upside potential that means that you should be focusing on getting that product ranked for other keywords, getting additional sales that you think that product could be getting? If it has more room there, it's going to be easier, faster, better for you to focus on that product and not try to worry about sourcing another product and all that kind of stuff. But once that product has kind of tapped out its potential and you have the cash to do so, that's the time when it's a good time to expand. So a rule of thumb for daily profit just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. There's no real, I mean, it really comes down to what makes sense for your business and what makes sense for how much your business is capped out on a certain product. I mean, if your product is, maxed out on its sales and you're making, a certain amount of money and you have the ability to add a new product and you have the time to be able to manage that, expand. Really, I mean, from what I found, by yourself, it's easy to manage about 3 or 4, 5 products max. But once you start getting up to there, it's really, really difficult. And that's when you're able to focus a lot of time on it if you're wanting to grow your business. So just keep that in mind that as you expand, especially from the newer, when you're just starting out, it is, a lot to manage, especially if one product starts taking off right away. So just be worried, not worried, cognizant of that. But when you're ready, just add another product. Do I need to create um, basically, do I have to create for every single item a website? Absolutely not. This kind of goes in line with the social marketing thing, and this question keeps coming up again too. Don't create, I mean, you can, absolutely. If you want to create a website for every product you have, that's a great way to go when you have the time and the resources. And that's a perfect example of once your business starts to grow and you have the funds to be able to reinvest again, hire somebody to do that, to constantly be building websites and, advertising your products and that. But realistically, no, you don't. Create a general brand website, general topic websites, and we'll use our favorite topic here, spatulas. If you don't have to create siliconespatulas.com and then, if all of a sudden you get silicone knives, siliconeknives.com. You could create a general website on silicone kitchen utensils or um, I don't know, fun cooking adventures or, something like that, or just your brand name. If your brand name might be silicone kitchen utensils, group things together. And that's the same thing, the advice I give with the social networks. Don't have to create a Facebook page for every product you create because people aren't going to be interested in that. Create themes of, that work together that you can leverage off each other, especially when starting out because it'll be less work for you. Instead of having to create a new website or a new Facebook page all the time, you can just add more content to the current one. And websites that get more unique content and Facebook pages that get more unique content will attract more of an audience automatically anyway. Do you think it makes sense to combine the website with your own shop? I don't know if that one makes sense to you, Matt.
Combine your website with your own shop. So I think what they're referring to is if you have like an e-commerce store and that kind of thing. Do you want to add that? I mean, we'll get into more of that in Module 8, releasing tomorrow. But yeah, the thing is like all those will want to be linked together and that kind of thing. So yes, if I understand you correctly, you do want to be all accessible from each other, pretty much.
This question is a good one, and if you should have got the email on the weekend that I did about the survey, which was actually really enlightening. The responses to that survey were really, really enlightening, actually. I'll be sharing that too. But this talks about content to put on your blog and how often to post. When it comes to creating content, this again kind of comes back to talking to your market, not talking about a specific product. People don't, I mean, again, using silicone spatulas, if you create a blog, how many articles can you actually write about silicone spatula? Not very many. But if you think about the target audience, who is the target audience? And we're gonna, just think about for silicone spatulas. One of your target audience is obviously going to be, I mean, actually, I shouldn't say obvious because I don't know this, but if you look at demographics, let's suppose it's 35-year-old females with a specific income. Well, then you want to start brainstorming topics that they're interested in. This could be little things like it might be recipes, or it could be, kitchen organizing tips, different things that relate to the type of things that relate to that market. So if someone who's interested in silicone spatulas is going to be interested in knowing about how to better organize their kitchen. Do you have a cluttered utensil drawer? Well, here's 5 tips to be able to really organize your utensil drawer. Now I just made that up. I have no idea. That's a good article, but those kind of ideas. Talk to the market. Try to brainstorm what are the top things that that person might be interested in. I can't really expand on this too much here because it could take a little too long, but in an email I'm going to be sending out to you guys either tomorrow or the next day, actually go through some questions to ask yourself to be able to create a list of content that'll work really well for not only your blog content, but actually for social media accounts and all those kind of things, so that you could really come up with a good list of topics, and then you could just get someone to write the content for you and just use it however you want. But really, whenever you're doing your promotions here, don't focus. It's really hard. I understand this because I've been there too, to not want to focus on the sale. We always want to get, the sale, go buy this, you want this. But the reality is you can only do that so much, and then people don't want to listen to your message anymore. So you've got to figure out what is it that they'd be interested in reading about, and then how can you get them wanting to learn more, and then get them to being able to find your product. And that to me is, one of the most powerful ways, because then you start getting a reader base, you get people trusting your content, and then you can start really flowing them into your products. Okay, already answered that. So I think we've got all the questions. I'm just looking. There was very few questions that were submitted this time. So do we have any questions in the Q&A section now?
Let's see. Um, Charity says Amazon has a web store option. Is this a good thing to pursue? I recommend no. You'll learn more in Module 8 what a better option is. A web store is basically like having your own e-commerce store, but Amazon's e-commerce store, their Amazon web store, is kind of freaking bootleg. Is what I'll put. Less than ideal. There's better options. You'll learn more about that in Module 8. Same
So
question
again,
here.
Ed Shortsleeve, I love that name, Ed. That's awesome. Where you put in the LLC info, it's going to be in the members area, and I'll have it very obvious. So whether it be on the Facebook page, just in the general members area, the community, you'll be able to find it, but it won't be until tomorrow.
Yeah, so we got a couple of people asking about forum topics for the other modules. Yeah, we'll get those created ASAP for modules 6, 7, and 8 is releasing tomorrow. So we'll have those other forum topics available.
And actually, while Matt was doing his spiel on online jobs, I added them. So I just did in Module 6, Module 7 general discussion, and we can look at adding other module topics, I mean other specific topics if you want, but I just did add those.
Are Amazon's training tutorials worthwhile to study? Probably not the best use of your time, but if you have extra time, can't hurt.
Yeah, I personally have never gone through their tutorials, but what I
No.
do use all the time is their training, is their search feature. So if I have a
Yeah.
question, you can go through and use their training. But I find that one thing that, and this was actually very enlightening, was when one of the members actually dug into this was, and this is why there's so much conflicting information with what we're doing compared to what sometimes Amazon provides for answers. Amazon, 80% of their customer base from a seller's perspective, meaning 80% of the people who are selling on Amazon are big warehouse manufacturers that are in a totally different kind of category than we are from where how Amazon has to deal with them. So for example, I don't know why we still keep getting this question when we've given the answers over and over again. Shipping from China. No, you do not need to use Shapiro. One of the reasons why Amazon talks about needing to do that is because they're talking to large companies that have mass amounts of stuff. You can just use DHL. That's it. Don't, it's not anything to worry about. You can just use DHL and that's all it takes. Because though in the Amazon's training in Seller Central, they focus on answering questions to their bigger audience, which means people selling mass amounts of products and huge amounts of different categories, they treat them differently, and so the answers are given different. But for you guys, so when you're researching and using the Seller Central search, keep that in mind that sometimes it might not provide the right direction. But for the general things like what can what kind of information can you add in messages, different things like that, absolutely. And one other thing I really encourage you to do is use seller support too. So meaning like if you are just unsure of something, just ask them. But a good lesson I learned from Matt is that does not protect you. And what I mean is just because you ask seller support a question about a specific strategy, if you could do it, that doesn't mean that later down the road, Amazon might still not all of a sudden give you, ask you questions or put your account on hold for a moment about something. So the best bet, in my opinion, is to never push the boundaries. Like do not do anything that pushes any of Amazon's boundaries. They're getting really strict on that, but it's still a great resource. Now I'm probably sounding a little bit contradictory saying use it, but be careful. But it is a great resource, and if you can't find an answer, it's a great place to look. But just understand that's who they're communicating to, so that's why sometimes it might come across a little bit different. Yes, DHL will directly ship from China to FBA. Okay, so where else can I'm just looking to see. It doesn't look like we really have any other questions. Oh, where are we with the tracking tool? Yeah, and actually, I apologize for that. That is a really robust tool on the back end, and between Amazon doing a couple of different changes and one of the other tools we use is an API access, we are having a little bit of struggles, but I'm hoping, and I just sent another message, that we should be able to have it for you this week. Fingers crossed, but the majority of you aren't going to need it right now anyway. But it's still a very powerful tool, and you'll be wanting it very shortly. But I do apologize for that, and I will have an update on that tool for you very, very shortly. Uh, can you give a specific example of a contest to rank for a keyword? I'm assuming you're talking, Dan, about the example I gave when I said how to, what do you call it, like with Matt's example. So say, for example, you have, uh, I don't know, I'm kind of drawing a blank here on an idea, but um, say, okay, we're silicone spatulas, so you want people to be able to search Amazon for that keyword phrase and then do the purchase. So if you're using a coupon, then you could, and the cool thing is, and Matt, I don't know, this is actually just coming to me. I'm not sure if we could actually do this, but one of the things you can do is you can track who uses a coupon. Hmm. This might just be an idea, and it might not be, but what you could do is say, and I don't know if you'd get in trouble for doing this, but if you go search this keyword, do a purchase, well, I guess there's no way to track that, so no, that wouldn't be a good idea. Never mind. I don't want to give you guys bad advice here, but the whole idea here is you give them a coupon code and you tell them to be able to get this, please do this, and then search on Amazon using this keyword, find our product, and then do the purchase. But as for an actual contest idea, I'm drawing a blank. You got any ideas, Matt?
A contest to get people to go do the keyword search and buy your product?
Yeah.
I mean, just anything. I mean, anything that's related to, obviously, if you're selling some sort of product related to, whatever the market is, make your prize related to it. I mean, if it's like a cooking thing, we'll use this sort of. You still got a week left, so maybe we haven't fully burnt out the silicone spatula example, so we'll use that again. So if that's your product, and people like cooking, so give them some whiz bang. If you go buy my product on this date, not only do you get this awesome product at this crazy discount, but I'll be picking one person to win this like $200 blender, or whatever, some sort of kitchen sort of related thing. And that'll get people excited. They get their discount. Hopefully, you can maybe incorporate some sort of social sharing in there, and that'll do the job. So just to make it a little more exciting and that kind of thing, that's a good way to do it.
Uh, Live event, any updates? I
Um,
don't really have any updates to provide anyone. We've been working really hard with the lady that is organizing everything for us, and yeah, I mean things are
Jason said
going,
he's going to be our entertainment in between breaks, and at the beginning of the conference, he's going to be break dancing. So we got that exciting update.
yeah, just in my speedos. That's
And his speedo's even better, yeah.
with my
But yeah, I
white
mean,
Canadian skin. Yeah.
we're getting pretty close. I mean, what are we, 3 weeks away? I mean, we're getting pretty freaking close. So yeah, getting pretty excited. We're on the back end getting everything still organized, all the sessions, events, helpers, volunteers, all that kind of stuff locked down. So you all are completely taken care of. I mean, Jason and I have both been to a lot of events, and there's a lot of things that I think other people do wrong that hopefully we do not do wrong. And we have just so you all know, it's not going to be some little Jason and I trying to wing it, putting this thing on, and this is going to be professionally done. We've got one of the best event organizers for any sort of internet marketing related event. She does some really, really big ones. So hopefully it'll be, pretty well organized and all that sort of stuff, so we can focus on the good content and getting you all to meet each other, really.
And with the event, it's going to be a mixture. There's going to be tables and chairs set up, and then also I'm trying to remember how they call that seating, where there'll just be chairs in the background as well too. Feel free to bring your laptop or just a notepad and paper. There'll be lots of training, lots of sharing, and everyone, for any of the downloads, for example, presentations that I'll be making, there'll be downloads available, but you will not need to go through them while we're there. So if you want to bring your laptop, you want to bring an iPad, whatever, that
I guess
is perfectly up
while,
to you.
while we're here, while we're winding down this Module 7 coaching call, we're probably about to log off. Is there anything any of you all have ever seen in a live event that you absolutely loved? Maybe some of you all probably put on your own live events, but is there anything you've ever seen in another live event that was freaking awesome and you wish all live events do it? I mean, we still have, 3 weeks left. We're obviously not going to be able to do everything, but maybe there are some things we could add, that kind of thing. So. Michael says walking on fire, the Tony Robbins style. Yeah, he's I have done that. Pretty cool experience. He's also burned people's feet before, so don't think we want to take that on just yet. Maybe another day. Um, so,
Prizes, yep, T-shirt gun. uh,
karaoke. Wow, that one.
yeah.
Okay, we're getting a bunch of goofy ones. I'm looking for real ones that we can implement. I like the creativity though. So this is a good one. So Ed says hot seats. By hot seats, I assume you mean we call on an audience member, we say, tell us what you do, all this kind of stuff, and we kind of analyze their business. Is that what you mean, Ed? I assume that's what you mean by like a hot seat. Waiting for Ed to respond. Ed is not responding. Yes, exactly. He says exactly that's what it means. So yeah, I mean we can definitely do that. I mean we'll do stuff like that where we ask people. I mean not everyone's going to want to share stuff about their business, but some people don't care. It's not a big deal. It's not right or wrong either way. So yeah, we can definitely do that kind of stuff. We'll be incorporating some. It's not going to just be Jason and I drilling stuff into your head. Trust me. We're going to make it interactive. We're going to make it so you all really get the most out of it. I mean that's really our only goal. Jason and I have. We're not going to call anybody out, but we've recently been to a big event by a very well-known person in this market, and we're underimpressed because a lot of it was this person focusing a lot on himself. He was, just kind of dragging things on, and it was just kind of, it's like, you come all the way here, you want to get some good value out of it. So we are taking that lesson to heart, and that's what it's really going to be all about: is getting you all the maximum benefit possible.
Question here. This keeps coming up, and I'm not sure. Asking about extra label and packaging training. I'm not sure what's really needed for, label and packaging training. So maybe I'm missing something there. Des has asked that.
Yeah, we've got a video that'll likely get put together, a PDF. We've got a whole forum thread that I was sent that need to create a video out of that or a PDF. So we'll try to get that before this 8 week module is over. Either way, you all will get it whenever it is created. Because we got to put a lot of planning in to get the module 8 rolled out and the live event rolled out, but we'll try to get that to you all as well. So yeah, live streaming, definitely a live stream will be available. Recordings will be available. We'll send out all the live video streaming stuff well in advance. We'll post it. We'll make sure that you can access it from Facebook. I mean, you'll have to log in. It'll be all private access because we don't want everybody having it. But we'll point you in the right direction inside of the ASM membership. I'm sure it'll be posted. It's not there yet, but we'll get it to you all in plenty of time. So just make sure you're checking the community forum because it'll be at the top of there. Make sure you're checking Facebook and make sure you're checking email. Out of all those places, you should be able to find it. Hopefully, I don't want to promise that. Never mind. I was going to say maybe we could have you all have it available by the time the next module coaching call, but that's probably not going to happen. So just check those places and it will be there. Okay, look, I see some other good suggestions. I'll make sure to take these down. So, Jason, do we have anything else?
I'm just looking here. I don't have anything else right now. I'm seeing a lot of the questions really are now just focused on the event. So here's one last question. I think this is a good one, so I'm going to hit on it. There's another good one here too about can you go back to choosing products and avoiding patent infringement? Um, I don't know if you want to hit on that, Matt.
Say it again.
Um, choosing products and avoiding patent infringement.
Um, yeah, not really related to Module 7, obviously. We've covered quite a
Fair
bit
enough.
about that. It's just a matter of doing your research and being smart about it. Because some products, it's not really going to matter a whole lot. Some products, it's will. For example, if you're selling some sort of like technical thing related to like cell phone accessories or something like that, there may be a patent on it. You just need to do your research and dig through that. And if worst case, pay an attorney for an hour of their time for them to do it. For a lot of other products, it's not going to be a huge deal. If it's something that worries you a lot, then use a different product. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
Okay, okay. So I have nothing else. Looking at all the questions, there's nothing specific to Module 7, so I think I'm going to just let her go.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah.
So yeah, everybody, thank you for being on.
Hang on. And I don't
Yes.
know if we actually have any helper badges this week. So
Uh-oh.
hang on one sec. I almost forgot about that. Let me just see.
While he's doing that, everybody, as usual, Module 8, the next module, will be live tomorrow, Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern, inside of the membership. There's an awesome interview in there that I did just a few days ago. If you all saw, I posted on Facebook. The interview was about selling your business. Because I just sold an e-commerce business for 6 figures. I interviewed one of the guys who runs that company. I used a business brokerage just to give a whole, it's not like a pitch for them or anything like that. It's a whole lot of good, extremely valuable information that I wish I would have known early on. So that's going to be in there for you, a part of Module 8. So you have that to look forward to.
All right, and I just got an update about the tracking tool. It is live for people with the tools, but Brian is working on one of the programmers is working on the some of the little bugs because it is one of those tools as well that the more people that use it, the more it needs to be tweaked. So once he gets this running smooth for everyone, we will be updating the training on how to use it. So there, I got the information from him. And yeah, so cool. All right, so there was no, what a disappointment. I just realized that now, and I just looked at my PMs, and there hasn't been any. So there was no community helpers for week 7 recommendations. So please, if there's anyone that hasn't been given a community helper badge this week, and you see them as being in the community, helping out, really, answering questions, anything like that, feel free to share them with me. And so next week that we actually have someone to share. So I'm going to sign off now. So Matt, I'll let you close out the call. But thanks everyone for being here, and can't wait to see most of you. Oh, that was one other thing about the live event. People keep asking me, what about spouses, what about partners, anything like that. I'm sorry, we're maxed out. People are saying, oh, I feel like disappointed I haven't been able to do this. We made it very clear from the beginning that it was one ticket per member for the live event. We have to keep whatever room is remaining for members that are still unsure if they're able to go. We cannot fill our spaces with guests who are not paid members, and we don't have unlimited space to be able to fill here. So I do apologize, I truly do, for anyone that really wanted to be able to bring a spouse or a business partner. It's just not feasible, and it's not our top focus. Our focus is on providing access for members who are paid members of this course. So I'm sorry, there is no more room for guests. Anyone that has been allowed to have a guest that did apply for it, we only had 30 spots and we ended up getting almost 90 emails about it in support. They've all been responded to, so you might want to log into support if you haven't seen your response, because they all have been responded to. So again, log in at support to be able to see your tickets. But I'm sorry, there's nothing else we can do about that. We do need to focus on members who are actually paid members to be able to get access to the live event. With that being said, I can't wait to see everyone at the live event. We've put in tons of hard work and it's going to be fantastic. But everyone have a fantastic evening, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you, Jason, all the way from Paris. So yeah, thanks, Jason, for making this call. So yeah, everybody, Module 8 releasing tomorrow. 3 weeks we'll be in a live event, so we will see you all soon. It's Wednesday, so if we don't talk to you all before the weekend, have an awesome weekend, and we'll talk to you all later.